Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to these informal videos that I'm hoping that you are finding value in and kind of listening to a little bit. Like I said, you don't have to do a whole lot of analysis of these videos. They're more just for info about the book review that I do. So take it as you want. But anyway, I'm not trying to advertise the book or anything like that. It might seem that way if you think of it, but no, I'm not. I just want to kind of review what I've learned and maybe what I'm taking away, and what do you think about it too. Sometimes that's always good to have that feedback. So today I have an interesting book. I think everybody can value again from this. I mean, a lot of the books they have some sort of value of anything that you can kind of take with you. But I think you might like this one too, especially if you are young, um, mostly for younger generations, stuff like that, or younger audience that they're thinking about. I have so many things in my life, or so many things that are going on during the day. I need to get them done. And you need a strategy. And you probably have heard this many times, but here we go. It's called to-do list formula, the to-do list formula, and it's by Damon Zachariades. Hope I didn't butcher that name. It's really a stress-free guide to creating a to-do list that works. Now, you might think that, oh, I've done to-do lists before and they don't really work for me. And I've been there. Believe me, I've been there. And sometimes you write a to-do list that there's so many items and you freak out because there's so much there and it stresses you out because you're seeing how much I need to get done in that day, or I want to get done in that day. And so I've been there, believe me. And you need to improve on that a little bit because you need to de-stress yourself out. So here we go. The author of this book, it says that he's an Amazon bestseller. So I don't know if he works for Amazon or not, but I got this from Amazon, and it was pretty cheap. It was in a bundle idea, a bundle deal, so that's why I got that. But he writes a lot on Damon. He writes a lot on productivity and improving time management, and there's a lot more of there. So it's really not a whole lot I can say about him. You can research it if you want later. But anyway, so a to-do list. So here we go. This book was written in 2016. So a to-do list has been around for I don't know how long. But 2016, I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on, and people today get kind of bogged down by things that they should have done 10 years ago versus today. And so a to-do list might help with that day-to-day action. So without proper strategy to managing a task, our days spiral out of control, right? And an action needs to be taken, because if things are just sat on our shelves, you're going to look at them and spend so much time looking at them and thinking about, hey, I should have done that 2 years ago. Well, those 2 years are gone. And so we all do that. And so you kind of want something to be applied, to take action, right? To get it done. And maybe find that motivation and decreasing that stress. So we always have what we call a false sense of accomplishment. Sometimes we see something that's too much and we don't do it. And then we feel kind of guilty that, oh my God, I had all this time, I should have done this, and now the time at the end is finally here and I just don't have the time. And you don't do it. And it takes training to do that. So in the book, he comes up with the 8 most common reasons people fail to do their to-do list successfully, right? So these are 8 common ways that a to-do list fail. One is they misunderstand the goal of a to-do list. That's really important. You make a to-do list and you miss the goal of it. And I think that's really helpful. And he says that the main purpose of your to-do list is to try to organize your tasks and projects and highlight the important stuff. It allows you to get everything out of your head where things are likely to fall through the cracks. So that's the first one. You need to understand what a to-do list is. And then the second thing says, okay, second thing here says you neglect to assign deadlines. You need to have a deadline, and sometimes let things too long. He says, and it helps time manage that stuff to get it done in an accurate time. And he says that without deadlines, there's little impetus to act. Without impetus, nothing gets done. Impetus, I think, is like a catalyst. It's like you need to get it done, and that motivation. Um, and so deadlines are our enemy of procrastination. If you don't have a deadline, your procrastination says, I'm going to go up like this. It's like working an 8-hour job, right? You know that you have to go from 9 to 5, and that's your 8 hours. But maybe you have a job that doesn't have that, and it's all open, and procrastination gets to set in. So a deadline's good. Number 3, maybe your list, your to-do list is just too long. And there's so many things there, and you get stressed out. And it seems distracting. It seems that it's unrealistic to you. And you only have so much cognitive energy during the day, all this willpower when you wake up in the morning. And when you wake up in the morning, you should have full energy, right? And you need to hit things hard when you have full energy, because your energy starts to decline throughout the day. That's why people drink a lot of coffee during the middle of the day, because they think that, oh, that's going to boost my productivity. It doesn't sometimes. You need to sleep. You need to take a nap. You only have so much energy. And then you only have that limited time to get all that stuff done. So number 4 says maybe you have too much variability. So this is like maybe items only take about 3 minutes to do, rather than 10 or an hour to do. And so this increases stress, because maybe you have all this information, and then he's like, okay, well, half of this can be done, and some of this can be done in like 5 minutes for each one. Okay, cool. So you get that done. And so he says that it's kind of like a paradox of choice. A paradox is like right and wrong. You can't be right and wrong. It's a paradox, right? And the more options we have, the less capable we are to decide between them. And then the more anxiety we would experience as a result. One more time. The paradox on this is the more options we have, the less capable of us to decide between them, and the more anxiety it experiences. So here's an example. You go to a restaurant, you sit down in a restaurant, and you fold out this big menu. It has like 30 things that you can order. And it's like, that's a lot of options. And you're going to get kind of, not distracted, but the anxiety's there, because you have so much like, oh my God, I want to look at all this. I want to try all this. And you have 30 items and so many options rather than 5 options. So it's a matter of having so many options versus teeny options, because your brain does this. We get the anxiety builds in. So I think it's number 5, you give yourself too many options. I think this kind of parallels what we were just talking about, or relates to it. And number 5, you give yourself too many options. So, maybe the options are that you have this, that, and then, what's one way of doing this? I want to do this one, I want to do this one, or this one, I want to do this one. You're giving yourself too many things. And that kind of parallels the last one, the variability. I think that involves like time frame. Number six in this, you did not add context to your item. So, what's attached? So what task deserves more immediate attention? And maybe you have to call your mom. And it's like, well, I have on my to-do list, call mom. But what am I calling her for? Or call the dentist. Why am I calling the dentist again? Fix car. What needs to be fixed on the car? And so you need to put a little bit more context with those, so that will help you enlighten or get down to what you need to really do with that. Maybe I need to call mom because I have to take her to the doctors that day to get a checkup done. Oh yes, I forgot about that. Maybe I need to take my car in because it was making noise, or it needs to have an oil change or something like that, or it needs to get the brakes redone. And you need to add that context, but what needs to be done immediately towards that? Number 7, things are maybe too broad. So maybe you want to create a website, and you want to create a website. Maybe you started a business, or you want to start a business and you want to advertise it, and you want to create a website. Well, think about the time that goes into that. I mean, we do have apps and websites to help you build websites, if you think about it. So yeah, it makes it easier, but it takes a lot of time in what you want to do with that and how you want to advertise it. So something this big is takes a lot more time with that. So it could take several days to do it. Number 8, the last one here, is you have no specific goal of it, and you don't. Everything has a purpose to a certain extent, right? Everything has a purpose, and if you don't really assign a goal to that, it's not going to get done. And so we as human beings love to see positive results. We want to see results because results make us grow or decide if it's working. So here's an example. Maybe my goal or my to-do list every single day is to go to the gym for an hour and work out. That's my to-do list, right? And so you can't just work it 1 or 2 days and decide, okay, I'm done. The goal is there. The purpose is there to get into better shape. So you got to keep doing it and doing it and doing it for every months and months and months, and then the results will show. You get like more energy, you're a lot more posture, you have bigger muscles, you look good, whatever. But that's something that you have to measure as well. So those are the 8 common. Let me read these again. So the 8 common reasons people fail to do their list is: 1, they misunderstand it. 2, they don't assign deadlines. Their list is way too long. Number 4 is too much variability. 5 is too many options. 6 is no context. 7, too broad. And 8 is what goal. I think those are pretty reasonable in this book. I really think that he nailed those ways. I can't think of anywhere else that a to-do list would fail. But anyway, so you're probably thinking, great, I have all this. I have these 8 common things that they don't work, but how can I make an effective to-do list? And so that's what we're going to talk about now. And so it takes time to have this work. A to-do list takes time. Get it? This to-do list takes time to set up. And this is why I think you should set your to-do list up during the night before you go to bed, because then you have a little piece of paper. I forgot where my to-do list is. I think I have one right here. I can show this to you. This is my weekly to-do list. And this is what I do every week. Do I fill it out every single day? No, I don't. And so I'm guilty of that, but that's okay. But you have your priorities and stuff like that. I got this online and to-do list, whatever. And you just kind of, put your stuff there, what you want to do. And does it work? Yeah, it does. It reminds you. Sometimes you have to have a whiteboard, like I have over here, a whiteboard that has days. And that helps to organize my thoughts, because I have so much going on in here, and you need something to help you out, a strategy, and not get discouraged. So I think that we got to go through, what will help you, and this is what's going on in the book. So what can you try to help you out? Well, one is that you can just go ahead and brain dump. He calls it a brain dump. So maybe you need to take everything, and you just need to take everything you're thinking, grab a piece of paper, and just write everything down that you kind of want to have done. Do short-term and long-term, because that gets you out. That gets the stuff that you're in here, and you're just brain dumping everything. The only problem with that is that it can look so much that you get stressed, right? You get stressed. And it takes a lot of training to do that sometimes, because you can overdo it. The next thing is that you need to create a master list. And so this is kind of like a daily task, but keep the big task in mind. And you also need to assign deadlines to this. And this helps because maybe every day, bring back this, is that you're saying, okay, on Monday I have 4 things I need to get done. They have to get done that day. So you write them all down, and then maybe how long do they need? I mean, how long do they need to have done? So maybe you need to mow the lawn. So maybe you have a yard. I know a lot of us maybe don't have yards anymore. Maybe like live in an apartment or something like that, or maybe they have an HOA or something like that, homeowners association society. So maybe you have a lawn, and you need to go mow the lawn, and you probably average the time about mowing your lawn about maybe it only takes you about 20 minutes to mow your lawn. When you write mow the lawn that day, do you think it's going to take you 20 minutes or is it going to take you 45 minutes? Because this is what happens to people, is that their 120 minutes takes a lot more time than they thought. And then it bogs them down with other things they have in mind. Or maybe they get a phone call. And so there's so many variables into that. So that's one of the ways in that you can kind of understand that you want to set a deadline. You want to say, okay, in 20 minutes, I got to get this done. I want to get this done in 20 minutes. If you go 25 minutes, who cares, right? But it's just you want to kind of get into that time. And that's just what he assigns that. The next thing is that he says that a 3 and 2 strategy, a 3 and a 2 strategy. So a 3 and a 2 strategy. This is, you have 3 big ideas or big tasks to do that day. And then you have 2 small ones. And maybe the small ones take 10 to 15 minutes. The 3 take maybe an hour to do. So maybe like wash the car. It can take an hour to wash a car. You got to dry it too. And maybe you want to clean it out. That can take an hour. So that's maybe one of your big tasks. A small task is like clean the kitchen. Sometimes cleaning the kitchen does not take that long. Depends on how dirty your kitchen is. It can take you 30 minutes and then you're done. Or clean the bathroom. So that's another small task. And then another big task is like maybe organize my office. Well, sometimes an office can be a lot to handle. Depends on how you are a person to keep your stuff up. Okay. The next rule is that he says 1, 3, and 5. So 1, 3, and 5. And he says 1 big task, 3 small tasks, it's like 30 minutes. And then 5 smaller tasks that take you 15 minutes. Like maybe wash the dishes, clean up the hallway, I don't know, take the kids to school. So you have these tasks. And so the next one is project-based system. Maybe you have a big old project and what you want to do is you have to categorize it into smaller tasks. And then so you're looking at the big picture, and this is your main project. And this could take a couple of days. I mean, he doesn't really say a to-do list has to be done in that day. It's really things can kind of lead on, but make sure you get it done. Because if you don't, you kind of get stressed out if you don't get it done. And so that's the problem with a to-do list too. You have to get things done and you have to see progress. And if it goes on the next day, record it and compromise for that. Don't let it interfere with your other task. And so you're doing this project base, and you're just categorizing it into what you need to do. So maybe go back to that website, that idea about the website thing. That's too broad, right? So you have this website, and then one of the subjects is create an attachment to help advertise that. Is another category. Maybe you want to ask your friend about it for feedback. And task that. There's just little tasks. I mean, that's probably very vague. I'm very sorry. Sometimes it's hard to come up with these on the spot. And so he kind of goes over the book. He kind of has what we call another thing called the MIT approach. The MIT approach is an acronym that he says. And the acronym says the most important task. So maybe your to-do list, when you're doing it, what's the most important task to get done there in that day? I got to get it done no matter what. And that's what you're aiming for. And that can take anything. And so he kind of goes through that a little bit. I'm not going to read you all these. And it, you have to kind of manage that a lot too. Sometimes those big tasks can be a lot bigger than you think, and it could take you a whole week to get it done too. Depends on the task. And so you have to allow that time to get things done. And he kind of goes through the book a lot more with these, and some of them I don't really find very appealing sometimes. But you can be the judge if you want to get this book yourself. I think it's a good resource to have. It's a quick, to me, it was a quick read. It's not that big. And it just, he says, how to create a perfect to-do list. And this takes a lot of work too, a lot of training, he says. You got to be trained on some of this stuff. And that training comes with experience, making your own and stuff like that. And maybe being older and stuff like that. And he says one of the things is you have to have a desired outcome. Okay, well, desired outcome means that my outcome is I create a to-do list and I get it all done. That's my desired outcome. And he says, why do you want that? Why does that task have to be done in that particular time? And then he says that, okay, break things down into individual parts. Well, that's good because these small parts can actually make the big part done. Maybe like it's like putting you take a chair. Here's just an example. You take a chair, has 4 legs, and each leg has to do its part to support the big chair, right? So what you're doing is you're trying to complete all the 4 legs in order for the chair to have its balance or its reason for doing this thing. Bad example. Number 4 is that you're setting a deadline. So that's the one thing you have to set is a deadline. Get things done in a perfect time or in a reasonable time. And sometimes you have to prune a couple tasks, and maybe the task won't take as much or have so much into it. So you start pruning it a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot more to this, but you got to keep whatever you're doing well-oiled. And well-oiled means that's just a metaphor for that. It's just you got to keep, in order for your machine or your task to keep progressing, you got to keep adding oil to that well-oiled machine and keep that thing. It's just a metaphor, so sorry if that was a little bit bad, but you're trying to keep that machine going. So you have to pay a little bit of attention to it. So interesting book. Like I said, it's whatever you decide to take from this. It's on you. To-do lists do work. Sometimes they don't. It depends on how that you put it together. I've had them fail on me sometimes, and I don't even look at them. But now I kind of do because I need it for my brain. I have so much going on in the day, and a lot more going on in the next couple of years. So very cool, interesting book. So hope I see you in the next one.